Should you always favor Xrange over range? Why or why not?
Xrange is more efficient because instead of generating a list of objects, it just generates one object at a time. Instead of 100 integers and all of their overhead and the list to put them in, you just have one integer at a time. Faster generation, better memory use, more efficient code. Unless I specifically need a list for something, I always favor Xrange.
You should favor range over Xrange only when you need an actual list. For instance, when you want to modify the list returned by range, or when you wish to slice it. For iteration or even just normal indexing, Xrange will work fine and usually much more efficiently. There is a point where range is a bit faster than Xrange for very small lists, but depending on your hardware and various other details, the break-even can be at a result of length 1 or 2, not something to worry about. Prefers range.
For performance, especially when you're iterating over a large range, Xrange is usually better. However, there are still a few cases why you might prefer range. In Python 3, range does what Xrange used to do and Xrange does not exist. If you want to write code that will run on both Python 2 and Python 3, you can't use Xrange. Range can actually be faster in some cases, for example, if iterating over the same sequence multiple times. Xrange has to reconstruct the integer object every time, but range will have real integer objects. It will always perform worse in terms of memory, however. Xrange isn't usable in all cases where a real list is needed. For instance, it doesn't support slices or any list methods. Edit, or there are a couple of posts mentioning how range will be upgraded by the 2 to 3 tool. For the record, here's the output of running the tool on some sample usages of range and Xrange. As you can see, when used in a for loop or comprehension, or where already wrapped with list, range is left unchanged.
No, they both have their uses. Use Xrange when iterating, as it saves memory. Say, rather than. On the other hand, use range if you actually want a list of numbers.